Oh, wait.
So far, so good.
So right after the press conference, we'll grab a bite to eat. Okay.
And here we go.
I know he's my inspiration.
What's your name? Hi, Timmy! Hi, Mommy! Hi, Mom! Hi! Junior primary concept. By the time we get back, we'll have to go to the primary concept. Holy, my arm!
But he thought it was
an event that, if you aren't aware of by now, promotes organ and tissue donation. Mr. George Marcello of Step by Step Organ Transplant Association is here today to bring this very important issue to light. Now today is day 680 of George's 769-day walk throughout Canada to increase awareness of organ and tissue donation. George brings with him the torch of life, as you saw Renee carrying there, the torch that was passed around. That torch has been carried by millions of Canadians and has been touched by Pope John Paul II when George had an audience with the Pope on September 5th, 2001 in Rome. The torch, as you can well imagine, represents hope, harmony, and spirit. A little bit about George, the man who, in a way, has brought us all together today. George, in 1995, was rushed to the Toronto hospital with liver failure and was told he had 2 days left to live. 2 days until an organ donor came forth, someone who had lost their life but had signed their organ donor card and was able to give their organs, and along with 4 or 5 other individuals, George's life was saved as well. And he wanted to passionately acknowledge that gift of life, and so the walk began June 20th, 2000 in Toronto. George's walk westward and eastward, and Ottawa is the final leg of George's journey, home to Toronto for July 27th. And during that journey, George has encountered folks in 47 cities and towns across our great country. In the spirit and vision of George Marcello.
I'm very pleased on behalf of all the citizens of Ottawa to recognize George's tremendous contribution, his tremendous leadership and commitment to a very important cause. It takes a very special person, a very special character to make the type of commitment that George has made to cross this country from coast to coast, to bring awareness and promote a very important cause, a cause, in fact, that saves and will save many lives in the future. So we're very pleased that you're with us here in the nation's capital, Ottawa City Hall, and it's my pleasure and honor to read a declaration in your honor, and I'm going to read it and then present it to you. Whereas George Marcello, a liver transplant recipient, is walking through Canada to inspire Canadians about the importance of organ and tissue donations and to promote the precious consent system so that more Canadians can live. And whereas George is also saying thank you in the most respectful manner to the individual and donor family who saved his life and the lives of others. And whereas George carries the torch of life with him from community to community, It has been carried by millions of Canadians and has also been touched by Pope John Paul II. Therefore, I, Bob Shirelli, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2002 as George Marcello Day in the City of Ottawa, and encourage citizens to consider organ and tissue donation in order that those awaiting organs can have a chance to live. Signed, Bob Shirelli, Mayor. George, it's my honor and privilege to present this to you.
Thank you, Mayor Shirelli, and we'll hear from George in just a moment. But now I'd like to bring Keith Martin, who is a Member of Parliament for the riding of Esquimalt Wanda Fuca. I think I have that correct, and I would like to say a few words as well. Dr. Keith Martin.
Thanks, Robert. You know that from living in Oak Bay. I first met George a little over a year ago when a friend of mine said, there's this gentleman walking across Canada to draw attention to organ donation. I thought, how extraordinary. Well, a lot has transpired, ladies and gentlemen, in that last year, and I want to thank, on behalf of all of my colleagues in the House of Commons, George for his courage and his heroism, and also for all those people who are behind the scenes making this happen. There are so many that helped George out, and so many sponsors such as Source Athletics and others that are here today that make this a reality. And we all hope that more people will sign their organ donor cards. We hope nothing ever happens to any of us, but if it does, give the gift of life if you can and save a life. Thank you, George, on behalf of the MPs from Parliament and from Canada.
And Rod Bryden is a face familiar to Ottawans as the man, of course, behind the Senators, but also behind the development of World Heart and some of the devices that may very well and are beginning to already save lives. And Rod is CEO and President of World Heart, and obviously instrumental in René Chabot's life right now and the technology behind it. Rod?
Yes, thank you. First, congratulations and thank you to George for this terrific initiative to bring attention to the need for organ donation to be dramatically increased in our country, and to ask Canadians to sign their donor cards, and also to consider adjusting the rules so that the ability to have donor cards effective becomes easier. I'm particularly happy to be here. The torch was passed to the Mayor by René Chabot, who is living today as a result of the assist device that World Heart Corporation provided. And it's a good example of the fact that there is a dramatic gap between those who need to have organs, including the heart, donated, and the total number of donations that are available. There are tens of thousands of Canadians who die from heart failure each year, and there were fewer than 150 hearts transplanted last year. The University of Ottawa Heart Institute has been very effective in developing new technologies to assist for people like René to be able to live both while they wait to become one of the lucky donors, or both today and in the future to have a mechanical assist device to replace the functioning of the heart for those many more people who will not be fortunate enough to receive a heart. And it's a pleasure to make a small contribution to the program aimed at donor awareness, and I'd like to present this check to George as he ends his long trek across Canada. George.
Thank you, Rod Bryden. And now, of course, I'd like to bring up Phil Rocco, who's director of the Ottawa Carleton Catholic School Board, and whose children marched with George this morning all the way through downtown Ottawa to show their support